Alright, welcome back to day 4 and day 5 of making a macro pad. After today, we're gonna actually combine both days, because on day 5, I was pretty tired and I didn't actually work on the macro pad as much, and I mainly was talking to friends, playing games, and working on some new assets for the stream. As you can see right here, right, we have a new taskbar. Up in the video right here, right, oh, where do you guys, that's right, like there, right, you'll see a taskbar saying streams every Sunday, and right next to the Discord link, right. It shows you also what I'm doing on the far left hand side, and so these are like GIFs that I made, and also when the stream starts, we have this little thing that kind of plays right while the stream hasn't started yet, and it also says streams every Sunday, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, but on day 4 we actually did do some work, right? Shout out to Garfield from my server who joined that day, right? But basically, we were talking and we realized that this was a waste of the potential, right? Because the plan was to have a display, right? Which we fully modeled out, by the way, right? So the display is fully modeled out. All the little surface mount components and everything are all on there. But basically, we have a touchscreen display that's full color, right? And I was only using the display part of it. I was using the touchscreen part of it, which is a huge loss, right? Especially since the real estate is so big, right, that it's worth more than the 4 pins it would take to replace it. So, obviously we would have to either not have this set up, right, or change out the ESP32. And so what we did in this situation is we actually went ahead and modified it to a 4 key setup. Now it's going to be a whole tier system, alright. So, we're going to have a starter build, alright, which will be priced around $42, which is still quite expensive, right, for what you're getting. But also it gives you the ability to like have like the more expensive things for a fairly cheap upgrade, right? Because for the starter build you need some filament, which is not included in the price, right, and all the keycaps, which is also not included in the price, but we will be printing those out. But you need the ESP32, and you need the switches, right? The ESP32 is like, I think close to $20. I forgot how much is it. Whatever. It's something like that, right? And the switches, it depends, right? But it's gonna be a little pricey. It's gonna be ESP32 plus 4 keys. I think I calculated that wrong. There's no way it's $42. It's probably a little bit less, but something along those lines, right? And the way it'll work is that we'll have 4 keys in a row, just like this, alright? And then there'll be another row above it with 4 more slots, okay? Now in the middle 2 slots, you could have keys temporarily. Well, actually in all 4 of those slots, you could temporarily have keys, right? And you could have an 8 key macro pad. And you could do that. Or if you want to upgrade to the screen version later, right, you can only have it in the 2 middle slots, right, and not the 2 ones on the far left and far right, alright, because those will be reserved for the display then. Or you can always, like, take those keys out and swap in a display in the future if you really wanted to. But yeah, and if you decide to have nothing else on the top, right, only a 4 key setup, and then also gonna make some socket covers basically, where you can kind of like slot it in and it'll kind of cover the socket so you won't really see it. And then the mid-tier build, right, which was the original build plan, right, which has been changed severely since our thing. But I think even though it's gone up to $61, right, at the time of recording, compared to the low price of $40, right, we've gone $20 up because of the display and the ESP32, which is slightly more expensive, so combined it's like another $20 increase. But what we do get is a lot more worth it, especially since like if you compare, like, the only competitor to this thing really is the Elgato Stream Deck XL, I think, right, where it has like a bunch of keys, a super little like, thin strip of screen, and then the knobs, right? Now this won't have knobs, but it will have, a much larger screen which could replace all those keys plus 4 physical keys, right? And again, you can completely control yourself, and it's less than half the price. Okay, so in that we'll have the ESP32, these 4 keys, the display will socket into the socket and this socket. So one socket will be for just the display, one will be for the touchscreen part of it, right? And basically we'll make it'll make a Cherry MX style socket, except we're gonna go ahead and like kind of mount our own pins to the using some like headers. Yeah, that's why it costs more than for. We also have headers now to make things hot swap. So yeah, we're gonna mount some of that. And to be honest, if we do this correctly, I'm not saying we will, but we might use those headers to actually make the switches also hot swap, because that would be nice. But I don't think we can do that. We'll see. But yeah, and so then you'll have like a nice little setup, right? Where you can, and also again on those two sockets, right? On the two sockets, you'll be able to like go ahead and it'll have little arms, so you can like tilt the screen and everything, right? And again, the screen will be nice, a little enclosure, so it actually looks nice. And then, if you really want to, get the most top of the line build possible, that's gonna be the overkill build, right? Which we still haven't made and fully designed yet. For that, you will need a new chassis. You won't be able to use the mid-tier or the budget build chassis, right? You will need a new chassis because you'll have new parts, right? You'll still have the ESP32 4 keys in the display, right? Maybe even more keys. I'm also thinking about adding something like in like knobs, all right? Because I do a lot of professional work. I'm not professional, but like I do a lot of analog work, video editing, photo editing, audio, 3D modeling, right? All that kind of stuff requires a lot of analog input. So it would be nice to have knobs, okay? And I don't know. So if you want, go ahead and tell me in the comments below what else we could add, right? I've been kind of yapping for a little bit, but whatever. Yeah, is there anything else that I wanted to mention? Yep. Okay, so that's it. And also, if you want, we also design the new ESP32 on day 5. So yeah, this one actually looks not bad. Again, everything will be in the links, and all the links will be in the description below. Okay. The texture is not perfectly accurate because my modeling skills aren't perfect, but bottom is black as it should be, right? And we have the holes, we have all the pins, right? I painstakingly clicked on all of these and manually went ahead and textured the outsides and the circle as well, right? On both sides. Okay. We have the chip right here. We have all the SMB components right here. Oh, that's the RGB LED. I don't know what that is, but I didn't do that. We have the boot and reset buttons right here. The USB-C connector. So yeah, day 4 and 5, not that eventful, but there's lots, again, major changes again. Yeah, I mean, that's just a design process, and that's the entire point of the series, right? The series is literally supposed to just be almost like a devlog, right? Where essentially, I'm making something, I want to share the process with you from start to finish, right? Not just like a tutorial on how to make something, but like showing you how I research, how I design things, how I think of ideas, right? All those things that go through my head. I just want to document all of it. And yeah, basically what that does is we can, I hope it helps someone else also learn how to do things like this on their own. So yeah, well then I guess that's it then for today's video. Alright then, bye.